Every single day, people wake up exhausted, stare at themselves in the mirror, and wonder why they suddenly look older, heavier, more inflamed, and more drained than they did just a few years ago. They blame stress, they blame aging, they blame genetics. But in reality, most of them are unknowingly destroying their own hormones, metabolism, and nervous system with habits they repeat every single morning. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize it's happening until the damage is already visible. In years of clinical observation, one pattern shows up again and again. Poor sleep, rising belly fat, chronic fatigue, brain fog, unstable mood, thinning skin, and accelerated aging almost always trace back to disrupted biological rhythms and daily stress overload. Let me explain what's happening inside your body the moment you wake up. The instant your eyes open, your nervous system shifts into activation mode. Your brain begins producing cortisol, your primary stress hormone. Cortisol is not bad by itself. In healthy amounts, it helps you wake up, focus, and mobilize energy. The problem begins when cortisol stays elevated all day long because of overstimulation, stress, poor nutrition, sleep deprivation, and constant screen exposure. And that is exactly what modern lifestyles are doing to people. The average person wakes up and immediately grabs their phone. Within seconds, the brain is flooded with notifications, emails, bad news, artificial light, stress signals, and dopamine stimulation before the body has even fully stabilized from sleep. This creates a neurological overload before breakfast. Your heart rate rises. Your nervous system shifts into fight or flight mode. Cortisol spikes aggressively. Blood sugar begins fluctuating, and the body remains trapped in a low-grade stress response for the rest of the day. Most people think exhaustion comes from working too hard. It doesn't. Exhaustion comes from never allowing the nervous system to recover. And here's where things become dangerous. Chronically elevated cortisol directly interferes with insulin sensitivity, sleep quality, fat metabolism, digestion, and even collagen production in the skin. Over time, this creates the exact symptoms millions of people complain about every day: stubborn belly fat, accelerated facial aging, inflammation, anxiety, poor concentration, hormonal imbalance, and constant fatigue. Your body was never designed to live in permanent stimulation. Now let's talk about one of the most overlooked aging accelerators in modern life: chronic inflammation. Inflammation is not always obvious. It doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it appears as puffiness in the face, water retention, low energy, joint stiffness, poor digestion, headaches, or difficulty sleeping. Inside the body, chronic inflammation slowly damages blood vessels, disrupts hormone signaling, weakens immune function, and accelerates cellular aging. And one of the biggest triggers is the constant cycle of stress, processed food, poor sleep, and nervous system overload. Here's what healthy physiology is supposed to look like. You wake up slowly. Natural light enters the eyes. Cortisol rises gradually, not violently. The nervous system stabilizes. Blood sugar remains balanced. Digestion activates calmly. Energy builds naturally throughout the morning instead of crashing by noon. That is how the human body was biologically designed to function. But modern routines completely destroy that rhythm. Now let's talk about the 5 habits that quietly age people faster than almost anything else. The first is checking your phone immediately after waking up. This habit floods the brain with dopamine and stress stimulation before your nervous system has regulated itself. It trains the brain to live in constant reactivity. Over time, this increases anxiety, shortens attention span, disrupts emotional regulation, and elevates cortisol throughout the day. The second is drinking coffee before hydrating. After 7 to 8 hours of sleep, the body is naturally dehydrated. Blood volume is lower. Electrolyte balance is reduced. Drinking caffeine immediately stresses the adrenal system and further increases cortisol output. People temporarily feel energized, but physiologically, the body is becoming more depleted. The third is skipping protein in the morning. Without adequate protein, blood sugar becomes unstable very quickly. Hunger hormones increase. Cravings intensify. Energy crashes by afternoon. Many people spend the entire day trapped in a cycle of sugar cravings, caffeine dependence, and fatigue, simply because breakfast lacked protein. The fourth is chronic sleep deprivation. Most people think losing 1 or 2 hours of sleep isn't a big deal. Physiologically, it is enormous. Even partial sleep deprivation increases insulin resistance, hunger hormones, hormones, inflammation, and cortisol levels, while impairing brain recovery and fat metabolism. And the fifth is constant overstimulation. Music, podcasts, notifications, social media, television, emails, noise. The nervous system never gets silence anymore. The brain remains continuously stimulated from morning until midnight. Eventually, the body loses the ability to fully relax. That is why so many people feel tired but unable to sleep deeply. Now let's talk about what actually helps restore the body. The first step is controlling your first 30 minutes after waking. Do not immediately reach for your phone. Let your nervous system wake up naturally first. Open a window. Expose your eyes to natural light. Drink warm water slowly. Allow your breathing and heart rate to stabilize. Then eat a breakfast built around protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Eggs, whole grains, Greek yogurt, chia seeds, nuts, berries, or cottage cheese are all excellent options because they stabilize blood sugar and reduce cortisol-driven cravings later in the day. Movement matters too. You do not need an extreme workout first thing in the morning. Even a short walk improves circulation, lowers stress hormones, supports insulin sensitivity, and helps regulate circadian rhythms. And perhaps most importantly, your nervous system needs periods of quiet. Silence is not wasted time.